Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. I do hope you're having a good day. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Today on episode 116, I had the immense pleasure to have Sheryl Robinson on, who is the founder of Grow and Share Network. She helps high school Girl Scouts earn their gold awards. We talked about a number of things on the podcast today from basically how what she has been doing to sort of keep herself active with the realm of exercise, how she did a 50-mile trek, no, sorry, 50-kilometer trek last year, and basically how she did a half a triathlon or something like that. We also talked about what work she's been doing helping Girl Scouts get their gold awards. I have to say, I was very surprised at the sort of level and standard of this award. Like I got to say, it's very challenging, hard work, and anyone who's got it, they've got my immediate respect. We also talked about her two podcasts as well, and yes, what sort of things she found out from doing the podcast. All in all, it was a very good podcast. I enjoyed my conversation with her, and yes, hopefully I'll be able to have conversations in the near future with her about other projects that some of her girls will be achieving over the course of the next few years. But anyway, sit back, enjoy, and have a great day. Excellent. Peace. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 116, I am very pleased to have, Sheryl Robinson on today. She is the founder of Grow and Share Network, as well as doing many a thing with the Girl Scouts. Yes, helping them get their, I believe, Gold Heart Award. Is that right? Or am I
The
right?
Gold Award. Yep.
Yep. Excellent. How are you today, my lady?
I am wonderful. Thank you so very much for having me on your show.
I'm more than happy to have you on the show today. Yeah, I've got to say, you are an interesting cat indeed. Look, apart from like doing stuff with the Girl Scouts, you are a person which seems to like, yeah, okay, I'm going to set myself a target. I'm going to go for it. And yeah, just go for a 50 like K like hike. What's that about?
So, a few years ago, I got into a program that got me really motivated and I lost a lot of weight. I was eating much healthier and my fitness level felt so much higher than it ever had in my entire life. I was not an athlete or in school years or anything like that. And it motivated me to see what I could do. So I decided to try a Tough Mudder race.
Yeah.
So that was my first experience. And what I learned from the Tough Mudder race was that having a big goal each year in order for me to create a training plan and work on the training plan and go towards it is what really motivates me to get off that couch. I'm very much a let's check the things off the list type person. So having a training plan feeds that interest. Um, and having a big goal gives me something to talk about with others and keep me on track.
Right. So what was your goal last year? Say,
So last year I happened to turn 50, and so
shut up.
yeah. So in accordance with that theme, originally actually I wanted to do a full iron triathlon. However, I did a half iron the year before,
Yeah.
and let me tell you, I've always had super respect for those triathletes, but after doing a half iron and how much training time went into a half iron, I just knew that I could not balance work and workouts and really put the effort towards the full iron and really meet my goal. So I reset myself and I said, well, it's my 50th birthday. So I said, well, a 50K sounds like fun. And there happens to be a beautiful park near us that hosts a 50K trail run. So I spent the entire summer at that park every Saturday for at least half a day doing, however many miles were on the plan, plus then, the regular runs and everything else during the week to train for that. And so I did complete my 50K trail run for my 50th birthday.
Oh my Lord. Like, yeah, 50K. Yes, I did 50K. Yeah, that's like, easily past a marathon by a good like distance right there. Ah, my Lord. I have to ask, did you have like a Fitbit or something to count your steps on that day?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, when I knew that I was interested in triathlons,
Yeah.
for Christmas, I asked for a Garmin triathlon watch, which allows me to swim with it. And so I can track my swimming. And it does indoor and outdoor. You don't have to be outdoors with the GPS able to see in order for it to track. So I love that watch. And yep, that's what I use all the time.
Yeah, no, this is the thing. I'm curious. Like the reason why I asked you is I've got a Fitbit, and like this is the thing. Like I've got the Fitbit Ionic, and yeah, it counts my steps. You can do the swimming and everything like this. But one thing I find with it, if you do like sort of long runs, you would have to, because of the GPS, you need to basically recharge it like pretty much on the same day, because it will go down to 40%. So if you got to do another run, it's just like, no, I am out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm lucky. My Garmin, I don't have that issue. So for example, the day that I did the 50K, it took me just under 10 hours. And let me tell you, my watch was very happy I was done at the end, but my watch did last the whole time.
Okay. Outstanding. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have to look into that. So, yeah. So with this year, with everything what's going on. So what was your thing you set this year? Did you?
So actually, before the pandemic even hit, when I was trying to determine what my goal was going to be for the year, I actually had already decided that I needed a reset year. I needed to take a year off, relax, not push my body so hard.
Yeah.
And so it just worked out that I picked the right year to choose to do that. Yeah. So I wanted to do some more hiking than I got in.
Yeah.
And I am also a geocacher. And so my mom and I geocached together. And so geocaching is, I like to call it a scavenger hunt using satellites.
Okay.
So there's a website called geocaching.com, and you can go on there and you can look up and find where people have hidden things all over the world. And I have geocached all over the world. And then you get the GPS coordinates. And you can do it on your phone, but let me tell you, it kills your phone's battery. So I have a handheld GPS unit where I put the coordinates into the handheld GPS unit, and then you get close to where it is, and then you just have to look around. And the things that could be hidden are a variety of things. So originally, do you know what an ammo can is?
Yeah.
It's a box that's like a foot long and about 10 inches high and maybe 6 inches wide. And they're really heavy duty and waterproof. So a lot of when geocache first started 25 years ago, a lot of the geocaches used containers similar to that, because being waterproof is important because you're leaving it out in the elements. But nowadays, and another one was when we used to have 35 millimeter film canisters. Those were another one, because those are also waterproof, right? So, you could have any size cache right now. And over the years, people have gotten really, really creative with it. So sometimes they might look like a screw and be on a street sign.
Yeah.
And so it's a screw in there, and you have to figure out that it's that screw and unscrew it the right way, right? Yeah, others might be puzzle caches. So I've done a couple of puzzle caches that like involve water, where either you have to bring a water bottle and you fill this plastic tube, and the cache is actually at the bottom of the plastic tube. And so when you fill it up, it rises to the top. And so then you can get the cache. Basically, the main rule is that it's a container and it has some sort of log in it that you can sign once you found it to prove that you really did touch and open the cache. But like I said, I had the opportunity to cache all around the world, and my mom and I absolutely love it. And it gets you out into nature. You see things that you would never see otherwise.
Outstanding. Outstanding. So how many of these have you done? You say you've gone all around the world. One,
Yep.
2, 3, 100, 500?
Oh, I've probably done between 2,500 and 3,000, but that's, in the scheme of things, that's not really a lot. I have friends that have done 20, 30, 40,000 caches. Yeah. Yeah.
What? It's like, okay, right. Wow. So I take it you do more than one a day. Is it like, because like that is just mental. In my,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, usually when my mom and I do it, and I let her do the planning usually.
Yeah.
So she will go out and she'll find an area where there might be 10 to 20 caches.
Yeah.
Because 10 to 20 is a good day, depending on what the caches are. And she'll find an area that has 10 to 20 caches, and she'll figure out how to drive from one to another, so she'll make the whole daily plan, and I just follow along with her and help her search things out.
Yeah. So I imagine, like you say, drive here, there, but I imagine there might be some hiking, which is involved with some of these places. So you're talking like, yeah, what, like,
Absolutely.
yeah, what has been the sort of furthest you've gone in one day?
You know what? That I'm not sure.
Mm.
I did a few years ago in eastern Wisconsin, which, so if you picture the United States, Lake Michigan is the one that is the long, thin one.
Yeah.
And so Wisconsin is along Lake Michigan, and there is a city there called West Bend, and they do an annual 3-day celebration of geocaching every year. And I went there a few years ago, and in that one day, I found 117 caches in one day. So mileage wise, I'm not sure how much it was, but it was a lot of movement.
Mm.
Another interesting fact is oftentimes they have what are called power trails. And so you might get a bike trail, or like the old railroad beds that they convert to bike trails, things like that. Or it may be in a park or something like that. And so caches have to be at least 1/10 a mile apart. And so you could go down this bike trail on your bike, and you could bike for 100 miles, and there's a cache every 1/10 of a mile on the trail.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Another thing that they do is it's called geo art. And so what they'll do is they'll place the caches in a certain formation, because when you find the cache, you go on the geocaching website and you log that you find it, you mark that you find it. And
Mm.
what happens is then the cache on your website, on your geocaching page, turns into a smiley face. And so people do geocaching art. And so what happens is the goal is to get all of the pieces in the piece of art, and then it makes a picture. So for example, about an hour north of here in one of the parks,
Yeah.
someone placed caches so that when we were done with that series of caches, we actually had a smiley face. Like the geo art was a smiley face.
Oh.
So, and that makes it interesting, because you don't necessarily can stay on the trail, because they have to place it in whatever formation they're looking for.
Yeah, no, I like, you know what, I like that geocaching like thing. It sounds very interesting because look, everyone goes, yes, you need to be more active and get out there. And look, with geocaching, it seems like, okay, yeah, there might be some driving in some of it, but yes, but there's a hell of a lot of hiking in terrain. I imagine it is quite challenging. And when you said, yes, a bike trail, a 100-mile bike trail, maybe not for me. But still, yeah, it's still like,
and it's a great family activity too, because you can imagine the kids love going and then trying to search and find whatever is hidden. So it's a great way to get kids out into nature too.
Yes, like, so I imagine with this, it appeals to a great part of you, because like, this is the thing. Like the reason why I asked about your sort of activity, just sort of to get more of a picture in my mind, because you do a lot of work with Girl Scouts uh, out there in like the great beyond, great America. You know, you're out there with them. Like, what got you into like the whole Girl Scouts?
So I was a Girl Scout when I was young.
Mm,
Um, I we moved when I was in seventh grade, and so I did not join Girl Scouts in our new community. But then when my daughter was young, she got into Girl Scouts, and that the troop leader for her troop pulled me in, and I am addicted. So my daughter is 26 years old. She's about to have a little girl baby. So I'm very excited because the next generation
ah,
of Girl Scouts is coming along.
ah,
Um, but so my daughter has aged out of Girl Scouts, but I have stuck with it. And what I have really found is that I love working with the older Girl Scouts.
mhm,
And I am involved in what's called the Gold Award, which is the highest award that in the US Girl Scout can earn. In the UK, it's probably more similar to your Duke of Edinburgh Award or your Queen's Guide Award. It's not exactly the same, but it's that high recognition level. And the one of the things though is in the United States, the Gold Award does not receive the recognition that it really deserves for the
right.
work that these young ladies do. And so I have really become a proponent for um, identifying some of these amazing projects and having the girls share their stories to
Mhm.
inspire other girls, but then at the same time, educate other people that may not be aware of what the Gold Award is, about what the Gold Award is and why it's so amazing.
Yeah. So what does it entail to get a gold award?
So, Girl Scout Gold Award is a minimum of an 80-hour project. And let me tell you, most of these girls put a couple of hundred hours, if not more, into their projects.
Hmm.
So 80 hours is like the guideline, but most of the time the girls blow that hour requirement out of the way. But what it does is it teaches them project management tools because they have to have leadership. They have to identify a problem and the root cause of the problem,
Mhm.
come up with a solution to solve the root cause. They have to build a team. They have to be good communicators. So it builds their skills because they might need to be reaching out to, their city councils and other places like that. A lot of girls end up working with their state legislatures.
Hmm.
So, things like that. Um, it has to be measurable. So they have to be able to show that there was some change that actually happened because of their project. We really try and encourage them to think outside of their community. So even if the project that they're working on is very specific to their project, that doesn't mean the concept can't be re-implemented in other places and create improvements in other places. So we encourage them to identify how they can share that story out and encourage others to make the same sort of changes in their communities. So it's really amazing. Some of the projects over the last few years is in one of the New England states, the uh, marriage rule that you only had to be 13 to get married. There was still a rule that the law was 13 years old. If you had your parents' permission, you could still get married at 13.
Yeah.
And yeah, and one of the girls decided that that's what she wanted to work on. And she has gotten it raised to 16. She couldn't get to 18, which is what she really wants. She's still working on it. And now that she's done with her gold award, she's actually taken the next step and she's become a member of the state legislature in that state and is still working on getting her law passed.
Oh, wait, okay, right. Okay, right. That's a little overachiever right there. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
but
No,
yeah.
more power to her. Like, look, okay, look. When you've got a law where you can get married at 13 with the permission of your parents, like, first thing that comes to mind is, ew, my Americanism right there. But like, yeah. But to be able to raise it by 3 years to 16, she was aiming for 18. But look, that type of change is phenomenal. I was going to ask you for an example of that, but of what like someone has done with this project. No, that's fantastic. And to become a member of the state legislature at the age of what age did she become a member?
She was 18. She didn't even have a driver's license and she was a state legislature.
Oh my God. Well, like, look, the Senate calls and then who God knows where she might end
Yeah.
up. Oh God, damn. Yeah. No, that kind of blows my mind because like this is the thing. There I would imagine like with regards to like the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and like all those type of organizations which are sort of 19th, 20th century found, there are most probably quite a lot of people like going, yeah, the Scouts is an outdated, like archaic, like it's a bygone era. But like, for example, what you've just given there, what would you say to someone who went, like, came to you and went, yeah, it's a little bit out of date, it's a little bit out old fashioned? Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not, because Girl Scouts is whatever that girl needs it to be. Wherever her interest lies, we're able to help make the program what she needs and what her interests are. And there's many paths. Not every Girl Scout wants to earn the gold award, has an interest in earning the gold award. We have camps, and we have girls that go through the camping programs and increase their leadership through by becoming camp counselors and such like that. We have travel opportunities. We have girls that travel all over the world for different aspects, depending on what they're interested in, and whether they're interested in environmentalism, whether they're interested in learning history, different things. There's girls can travel and expand their knowledge in that way. So the thing is with Girl Scouts, it's whatever that girl wants Girl Scouts to be. So it's not outdated.
No, I'll tell you, yeah. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to fight you on it because look, anything which can sort of like get a person thinking, okay, right, how can I make a change, a positive change in the world is always a good thing. And I would simply say, put it this way, I think more youngsters sort of getting involved on that side of things, helping bring a positive change is going to be, it's more important these days than it's ever been before, because what I find there is this sort of like real big disconnect, because you look at the sort of political realm and you go, okay, that's the way the world works, I can't really affect that, or like that's what most young people say, and then like by the time they get older, there's like, right, there's a lot of potential which is just being missed, excuse me. But that young lady who like got the age of marriage changed, now she's in the state legislator, excuse me. There, that is a pathway to maybe something far greater in within her. She might stay at being in the state legislator, but Congress, governor's house, or dare I say, the highest office in the land might be calling her. And if she didn't have that project, wow, it may have been a whole realm of wasted potential right there. Or she, like, hey, she may have been a fabulous TikToker. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah. So do you think it's your sort of mission to help these young ladies like actually find their true potential?
When more locally, I do that.
Mm,
So when I work more locally, I work directly with the girls and their adults in helping identify what good projects are, because one of the big hurdles is helping girls identify what's really important to them.
mm,
And one of the pieces that I really focus on when I'm talking with girls is that don't just, everybody might say, we have garbage everywhere, we need to clean up the garbage. Well, if the girl doesn't have an interest in garbage, that's not the project for her. So it's really, really important when they're picking a project that they know what's important to themselves
mm.
and identify some community needs and figure out where those two things can come together, because that's what creates then the best projects for those girls.
And with that, like when a young lady like comes up with a project, uh, what sort of what sort of challenges is there a common challenge they come up against, or is it kind of unique to each sort of circumstance?
Regular reoccurring challenge that I hear
Mm,
is the communication. And they often learn that when they're trying to get people to respond to them, whether it's email or phone calls or whatever, they learn how many times they have to reach out before someone responds. They learn how to use different resources, how to use things like LinkedIn and things like that that maybe they haven't used before, to
mm,
find people that might be able to help them with their project that they don't know.
yeah.
They learn how to use their connections, so use the people that they know to find other people that they don't know that can help them with their projects. So, those are the kinds of intricate skills that the girls learn while they're going through their project, that just happen, but it's very challenging for them because it's so outside of their comfort zone, but they're skills that will always help them in the future.
Yeah, like one of the things I would simply say with the skills they pick up, um, like doing a project which is a minimum of 80 hours and like basically getting that communication skills to basically meet the right people to help them like formulate and like bring their project to fruition, to success. Like, is this recognized by sort of colleges or anything like this as like something to be like going, yes, this is a thing for entry requirement because you put in the work? Or is it kind of like you mentioned it's not recognized as much earlier in our conversation?
Yeah. So it's not recognized as much as we would like it to be.
Mm,
Um, if you've heard of the Boy Scout Eagle Scout Award,
right.
um, that has a lot of recognition. That has a lot of name recognition. Many universities that recognize the Eagle Scout have will accept Gold Award Girl Scouts at the same level. So, like, if there's a scholarship opportunity, often, and of course it depends on how it's funded, right?
Right.
But oftentimes, if a Gold Award Girl Scout is eligible for the same scholarships that Eagle Scouts are eligible for. In the US military, officially, you automatically get a one level upgrade by having the Gold Award.
Really?
And in a lot of cases, and I say this because I know multiple girls that this has occurred with, um, oftentimes they actually get two. And I think it's probably because when they're filling out the thing, like the Gold Award automatically gives them one, but a lot of the work that they did bumps them
Right.
up another one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So officially it's one, but quite often they get two levels up in the military just right off the bat, which is huge. Um, One of the things that I'm working with girls right now is having them understand on resumes how to promote the Gold Award
Hmm.
differently. Because even if they just go right into the workforce and they don't choose to go into the military, they don't choose to go on to university, the skills that they have learned, they are far and above their peers who have just graduated from high school with those skills. Because like I said, they have project management skills, they have leadership skills, they've worked with teams, they've built their communication skills. So um, I work with girls on helping them with their resume just when they go into the workforce. We have had lots of universities when they get applicants come in and they'll say, these two applicants, their SAT scores are the same. They were in pretty much the same organizations in school and everything else, but this one has a Gold Award and this one doesn't. This is the one that we know we're going to accept.
Mm.
So, it can make that difference.
Yeah, no, because it shows the working behind it. It shows they've had experience, as you said, doing project management, like, yes, communication skills. And further, like, one of the things you didn't mention is like actually building a team from scratch to tackle something which wasn't there before without any sort of previous structure. So, yeah, I can see that. So, how many girls get the gold award on an annual basis?
So just over 5% of eligible Girl Scouts earn the Gold Award every year.
Right.
Um, and so it's a very small percentage. And like I said, not only do I want to bring more awareness, but I really want to help increase that percentage because
Yeah. So what is like, how many girls are eligible to get the award?
honestly, I can't think of what the actual national number is every year.
Hmm.
I know a couple of councils have about 200 girls, but there are plenty of other councils that have a couple of girls. So I would say maybe between 4 and 5,000 a year at the most. No, we have 100 councils. Maybe between 2 and 3,000 girls a year earn the award.
Right, I see. Wow, that is small. That is very small,
Yeah.
actually. So is there sort of like a gold award little club or a little network where gold like previous award winners like get together and like talk about stuff and like help each other out, or like have a secret layer where they go around fighting crime? I don't know, how does it work?
So that's probably one of the reasons why the gold award doesn't have as much cachet as other such as the Eagle Scout, because historically we haven't been, and when I say we, Girl Scouts and GSUSA, our national organization, haven't done as well promoting it and tracking prior awardees.
Hmm.
And that is changing. So over the last couple of years, they have created a Gold Award Alliance, they call it, at the national level. And so we're really working towards creating that sisterhood of just Gold Award Girl Scouts. So
Yeah, because like this is the thing, you've got a podcast, Hearts of Gold, with regards to that, right? Where you've got,
absolutely.
yes, you've got young girls who've come on talking about what they're doing. But like this is the thing, I'm just saying, if there is a database of all the sort of gold heart winners, like from time immemorial to present day, like I would say, get them, like start getting them on and tracking them down on LinkedIn, because look, all I've got to simply say, there is most probably a high ranking board member, like CEO, most probably out there, like going, I did this and I did that. And I think it would be a real sort of inspiration for like, hey, the next generation coming through. If you can get them, I'm sure you can, because come on now, you are you. Like, yes. Yeah. Like,
Mhm.
have you managed to get any sort of old, like, previous like Gold Heart alumni?
So my show has only been around for 2 years.
Hmm.
So it's a fairly new show. So, but the word is spreading and yeah, we're trying to create a network. So
Okay, okay. Excellent. So, mm, so with that, is it a case of you're just going to use the internet to sort of like bring these people together, or is it going to be a case of you're going to organize when we can meet each other face to face and be in the same room without someone coughing and like everyone sort of fleeing for their lives? Will you be sort of doing events as well? How do you see
so
that happening?
so I believe one of the goals at the national level is to have the Gold Award once every 3 years. We have a big national convention where all of the Girl Scouts across the USA come together.
Hmm.
And one of the goals is to have a Gold Award group at that national convention every 3 years.
Ah, outstanding, outstanding. I have to ask now, just out of my curiosity. Now, if you were eligible, what would there be a project what would come to mind, or would you have to think about it?
Oh, I guess I would have to think about it.
Mm, mm,
Yeah. I never thought, to me, Hearts of Gold is almost like my Gold Award project because I'm trying to, my root cause would be that there's not enough awareness and
mhm.
not enough girls reaching for the Gold Award. And so my solution is to create that awareness and to promote the girls and to encourage them to earn the award.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. You've got a second podcast which like comes to mind. What is the name of your second podcast?
Sensory Strides.
Sensory Strides. And what is this podcast about, pray tell?
So this is a podcast that, and they're minisodes, so that all the episodes are super short.
Mhm.
And I started Sensory Strides before I started Hearts of Gold, and I started it so that I could kind of get a feel for podcasting and learn about podcasting.
Yeah.
But it's kind of become my journal, and so I do. I share whatever interesting things I might have had during my fitness journey.
Yeah.
I read a lot, so I share a lot about books I've read and things that I'm surprised about from the books that I've read. I haven't done much this year, but when we used to go out to supper a lot, when we used to go out to restaurants, I would talk about the different foods that we tried, because I like trying different things. So the idea is it's sensory, like your five senses, and then strides for the fitness. So that's where the name of the show came from.
Right. I see. Like, so you're a person who started two podcasts, like, yes, one for Hearts of Gold, Sensory Strides, as a personal journal. So what has been the sort of different lessons you've learned from doing, like, Sensory Strides, your first one, and Hearts of Gold?
So when you're in podcasting groups, they often tell you consistency is the most important thing to do.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't understand, because I started out as a podcast listener. And it's like, I subscribe to my shows, and when they show up in the feed, I listen to them then, right?
Yeah.
But I will tell you that, and it's coincidence, it has nothing to do with the pandemic. It Hearts of Gold was just over a year old, so it was just the timing was good for it. And then I just followed along with Sensory Strides. But for 2020, I set a goal, and I did have a consistent release schedule, and I always released on my release schedule. I think I missed 2 Sensory Strides episodes, but that's a pretty consistent schedule. I didn't miss any of my Hearts of Gold episodes, and I can see the increase in awareness that has happened with that consistency, which I was surprised about. It actually has become easier for me to get the Gold Award Girl Scouts to come and present on the show. With that consistency over this last year. So I think that has been my biggest learning thing, which I was really surprised about, because I heard it and I heard it and I heard it, and I'm like, I don't understand how this works. And I still don't understand how it works, but it does work. When you're consistent, then the audience recognizes it.
Yeah, no, like, this is a thing. I think part of that is when you are consistent, it helps maintain your sort of momentum, because when you miss a day, it can take a little bit more energy, a little bit more effort on your side of things to get that built up. And as you said, you went, oh yeah, whenever it appears in the feed, that's when I listen to my episode. But there are some people, when they found your little nugget of gold of a show, they'll be like, okay, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And if they could meet you on the street, they'll go, hey, where's my episode? And it's not your episode anymore. It's their episode, and they want it. And it's like, yeah. So yeah, momentum is key to this, because podcasting, I think what many people don't realize, it can be a hard churn if you're not sort of consistent with it, if you're not focused with it, and it can be tough out there, as you can testify yourself. But yeah. All right. So with regards to the podcast, with regards to your podcasts, what will you be doing with them over the sort of forthcoming year? Well, 2021, 2022.
So with Hearts of Gold, that's a bi-weekly show. And I try and do some sort of short education snippet in the other weeks, in the odd weeks. And I am working on partnering with a Gold Award Girl Scout that I interviewed this last week. And we are, I mean, this last year, and we are going to work on creating some tips and tricks for potential Gold Award Girl Scouts to use the system. It's called Gold. It's the online system that we use for the application process and
Yeah.
the documentation process. So we're going to do that together. And for me, that's really interesting because I am a committee member who reviews the applications that come in, and she's a girl who went through the process. And so we're hoping to be able to combine both aspects in order to help girls really understand why some of the things are set up in the system the way they are, and give them ideas on how to proceed through the different processes. So I'm really excited about that project because they just revamped that online program October of 2019. So it's pretty new.
Right.
And there isn't a lot of information at that level to out there for the girls to help understand the process. And the feedback I've gotten is, as a committee member, the feedback I've gotten is it's really hard to go through the process online. And so we want to make that easier. And I'm just excited to be able to do it with a Girl Scout.
Right. I can see a little tutorial coming to YouTube sometime in the next few weeks. That's like, this is how you fill in the form. This is what you need to gather for evidence. If you don't do this, you're wasting your time. So make sure you get it right. Oh,
right. Yeah.
Right. Fantastic. So with this, are you just getting the word out for your podcast at just through word of mouth for Hearts of Gold, or is it a case of you're promoting it everywhere and anyhow you can?
I try and promote it anywhere and every how I can. One of the things that I do is I am in a boatload of Facebook groups related to Girl Scouts, right? And so I make sure I'm commenting in there, and where possible, then I'll mention the show. As you know, when you're in those groups, sometimes you have to be careful about mentioning your show because they don't want you selling anything. And even though I don't have anything to sell, they consider promoting a show selling sometimes. So I have worked to build a face in those groups as a knowledge leader, so that then I can share out the show, and it's not like a pushy selling thing.
Right.
So that's one thing I've done. Yeah.
Right. Have you thought about going on to TikTok?
I have not. Going on Instagram was a big step for me.
Okay.
But that's where my girls are, right? The girls are on I get that they're on TikTok now, but at the time when I started, Instagram was where the girls were. I'm still don't feel like I'm 100% on Instagram, but I really feel like Instagram has given me so much great feedback. I think it's because of the way that they use hashtags on Instagram, where you can reach people differently, even if they don't know about you, that you can reach them differently when you use hashtags and such. So I've done Instagram. I'm not sure about the TikTok thing.
I'm sorry to make you break out into a cold sweat. You was like, no. It's like, oh, TikTok, get away from me. Keep that evil away.
Well, along those lines, though, I do listen to feedback from the girls.
Yeah.
So when I was considering doing Hearts of Gold, at our that annual 3-year convention, well, it's not annual, that every 3-year convention that I mentioned, in 2017, it was in Columbus, Ohio.
Right.
And I already had the idea at that point. And so when I was at convention, I was walking around and asking girls what they thought of the idea and what they would wanted to see from it. And one of the big things that I got from that was they wanted the show to be on Pandora. And so we were talking about a podcast and we were talking about Pandora.
Yeah.
And for those of you in the podcasting space, Pandora has only hosted podcasts for a few months. Well, maybe it's been a year now, but it hasn't been very long, right? And so I just thought that was really interesting, right? But that really pushed me so that as soon as Pandora started doing podcasts, I jumped right on that and got that, and I made sure to promote it because even though I may not have been able to reach right back out to those same girls, that was something that they asked for. And so I really try when I'm talking to the actual girls to find out what their thing is. So maybe TikTok will come up because maybe along the lines,
Yeah.
maybe that's where the next thing is.
God help your soul. So 3 years ago, Columbus, Ohio. I take it this year, for obvious reasons that didn't go ahead. So is it going to happen in 2021 maybe, or is it going to be like 2022 they're looking at?
No, it'll be 2023. So
Wow.
what happened this year was we were supposed to go to Orlando, Florida this year.
Right, yes.
Yeah, we were all really, really excited about going to Orlando.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And so there are two parts to this every 3-year conference. So there is all of the, what I'll call the fun stuff. There's the convention where there's lots of activities, there's lots of speakers, there's all of these great things where you get to do and learn and just have fun and meet with people.
Yeah.
That's the part where, for example, that Gold Award group will meet. It's in the fun side of convention, right? But then we also have our National Council session, which is the business side.
Yeah.
And so this year, when it was obviously identified that we were not going to be able to have 50,000 people go to Orlando, Florida. Yeah, it's a big convention. Yeah. That convention itself, so all the fun stuff obviously got taken off the table. But we still did our National Council session virtually. And so that was 3 days. We spent, I don't know, 21, 22 hours over that. It's actually 2.5 days. It was Friday night into Sunday night.
Yeah.
Over that time, doing all the business stuff that still needed to be done. Like we couldn't wait another 3 years to do that. So that's what happened. And so now in 3 years, they're still going to, because convention moves every 3 years. It goes to a different place every 3 years. But Orlando is going to still host it in 2023. So we still get to go to Orlando in 2023. We just got to wait a little bit more time. But along those lines, another piece that happens along with this every 3-year convention is they actually have a girl board that plans a lot of that fun side of the convention. They help identify who the speakers are that are going to come in. They help identify what those activities are. So these are high school girls that work with the planning committee to do a lot of the planning. And so they were, you can imagine, they were well into the planning when it got called off, right? And those girls pivoted. It's called the Girl Team, GIRL team, right? It's called the Girl Team. And those girls pivoted and they ended up creating a, no, it wasn't a YouTube. It was an IGTV. It's on YouTube also, but they created an IGTV and they've done some great videos. Smaller group of them actually created a podcast. So these young women that were in this group, they took the fact that they lost what they had been working for 2 years, because they've been planning this for a while, that they lost the big party end of it. And they just said, you know what, it's gone. What else can we do? And they did all of these other really amazing things.
Outstanding. Yes. Learn how to pivot in times of adversity. I'm liking that. Yeah. When you I have to ask this, when you're in the company of seeing what some of these girls come up to you, do you find it kind of inspires you to do more?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like these girls, some of them, they have really, really big projects. One of my favorite Gold Award stories is a few years ago, I interviewed, so we do 2 interviews. We do a proposal interview when
Yeah.
they're sharing what they want to do. And then when they're done, we have to do a final interview. Okay. And so I was doing a proposal interview with this girl. We met at a local library and her mom was there with her. And so we were going through discussing the proposal, and the girl had her back to me. I was given no information beforehand. The girl sat in the library with her back to me and basically didn't answer any questions. And her mom was answering all the questions for her. And the piece of the gold award is this is the girls project, right? It's really important. The mom and the troop leader, they're going to be support people. They're going to be part of that team.
Yeah.
But it has to be girl led. It has to be the girls project. And we really, that's a very important piece of this. And so we continued the proposal interview. And obviously I realized that there was some learning disabilities involved here, right? Like
Sure.
it was pretty obvious shortly into the meeting that that's what was going on. That was fine. So I got a lot of the information that I needed answered regarding the actual proposal. But I wanted to make sure that this really was going to be the girl's project and not mom's project that she's doing for the girl, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to ask mom to leave. And so mom left the room. She went into another room and she could see around the corner, but she wasn't in the room, right? And I continued the interview with the girl. I did get some one-word answers, right? But enough to know that this girl was involved and engaged in the project. It was not just mom. Like this girl had a stake in the project, right? Well, and the project was about autism, and that is what the disability was, right? And so the girl did her project. What she was doing education within her school on autism to help share and with her peers, like her experiences and what happens in her life. And so except for this year, every year we have a big award ceremony. Okay. And part of the ceremony is that the girls, one by one, their project is presented. And then the girls walk across the stage and our CEO and our board chair give the girl her award. And then they stop and they take a picture. And then the girl continues off to the other side of the stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And knowing this girl, I was extremely nervous as to how this was going to go. Because when you're in if in a small library, those are the interactions we have.
Yeah.
Like this could be too overwhelming for her, right? And she walked across that stage. She shook both the CEO and the board chair's hands. She stood there for the pictures and then left. And so unless you knew her background, you would never have expected anything different, right? But I was standing on the side with tears running down my eyes because I knew how big that was for her. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of thing, we talked about Cassandra and we talked about the legislature, right? But the reason that this is my favorite story is because this shows how the projects can change the girls. And that's the real impact that it can have.
Yeah. Like this is the thing. One of the things what people always like, we live in a society of a place of comfort. And sort of when you're talking about these projects, like okay, you got to do this, you got to put in 80 hours minimum, you've got to build these communications, you got to build networks, you got to build teams, everything like that. It's not stuff which is easy. It's not stuff which is like keeps people in their comfort zones. If you told the majority of adults to do stuff like this, they'll be like, what? I don't know where to begin with that. And they would quit. And just for like many of these young ladies to come through to like, make legislation changes to like go outside their realms of any sort of learning difficulty they might have, or maybe like social economic circumstances they might have along the way to do something which adds a little bit of good to their communities is something to be truly proud of, because hey, it's not I would say, look, I say this as someone who sits on the sidelines myself, like more needs to be done. And I think, yeah, if we can mobilize this like young sort of force to like actually do more good, uh, who knows where it can lead? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Yep.
yeah. So I have to ask. So with this, like 2021, like 2020 is kind of a year which is, how can I say, it hasn't really truly met up to people's potential of doing things. Now, what do you think you can like are some of your potential goals for maybe 2021, 2022 for yourself?
So I haven't thought to 2022 yet, but I have thought about 2021 because I do feel like I need to set another goal and get moving on it. And so what I think I'm going to do, knowing that I don't have control over our current environment,
Okay.
um, there is, I looked at doing Grand Canyon rim to rim, which is where you go from one side of the Grand Canyon, you go all the way down, and then you go up the other side. But the logistics involved with that, because of there's not a lot of resources on the north side of the Grand Canyon.
Right.
And so in normal times, there are shuttles that go back and forth, but like they're not running right now and things like that. Um, so I think the logistics I concern me still with not knowing what's going to happen
Hmm.
in in the next few months. So, but there is another rim to rim called the Utah rim to rim, and it's in one of the national parks in Utah.
Yeah.
And so it's similar though, except that it doesn't have as many logistics because it's all within the park. So there's shuttles that run within the park. So that part is, there's no issues there. And so I think that I'm going to do that. And I want to say it's 23 miles total and you do it over 2 days. Um, so I think that that's what I'm going to do is the Utah rim to rim.
Right. I was going to say, because the Grand Canyon, okay. I was going to ask you what the distance is on that, but the Grand Canyon, ooh, that is not what I would call a cool place to be most times of the year. So it's like, okay, yeah, blazing hot no matter when you go. So Utah, when do you think you might do this in Utah? Because like the weather, you get 4 seasons in Utah. Will it be sort of spring, summertime? When do you think
So
you might do it?
so I'm likely going to do it in mid-June.
Right.
And so this for the where this park is, that is the beginning of the summertime.
Hmm.
So it could get hot, but it should be before it gets to be the 100 days average temperature that you get in July and August.
Oh, yes, I forget sometimes how hot it can get in like the United States. I remember the first time I flew into America. I flew into like Dulles Airport. I was like working in a summer camp in Virginia. I was like, okay, I'm sitting on the aircraft. Like, I can't remember which airline. May have been British Airways or Virgin. I can't remember. But they went, yeah, it's 85. I was like, okay, 85 like Fahrenheit, no, like no problem. We have 85 in the UK. No worries. I went from a nice air conditioned aircraft to a nice air conditioned transport to a nice air conditioned terminal. And like, yeah, got my bags, met up with like camp director. I was walking towards the door, and like it had this sort of like shed, like corrugated iron mist tunnel thing. And I was like, okay. Then I saw the shimmer in the distance. So like, oh no. Oh no. As soon as I stepped out under that corrugated iron, I was like, oh, dear God in heaven.
Yeah.
But my first breath, I was like, just like heavy steps, heavy steps. But okay. Yeah, it was good. It was good though.
Yeah. See, I like the warm weather, so
Hey,
I don't know why I live in Wisconsin because until it's 80 degrees, I'm not happy.
like, well, West. Oh, good God, Wisconsin. Yeah, you're right up there, aren't you? Like, like aren't you right on the border of Canada? Is that right? Or
Um,
close to?
the northern part of Wisconsin is close to, yes. I'm like about halfway down in Wisconsin, but yeah, we definitely have winter here.
Okay. So how cold does it get in Wisconsin, may I ask?
In the area that I get, we usually have a week or two where it's like 20 below 0 Fahrenheit, which is pretty cold. It stays pretty cold most of the winter. So I stay inside.
No, 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 no. See, this reminds me of another time. Look, I was in like New York. I came over to meet my brother from another mother. His first child was born. I was like, yeah. And I went, yeah, weather report. It's minus 15 out there. I'm like going, yeah. I was like, I'm all minus 15. I'm ready for it. I stepped outside in bright sunshine and I looked around and went, this is nothing. So I'm walking down the streets of New York. Then I hit this one street, which was just covered in shadow. Like walking, walking, walking. As soon as I hit the shadow, it seemed like I aged by 50 years. I was like, oh, no, minus 20. I'm not going to be doing that.
Yeah.
Like more power to you.
Yes.
Power to you.
Yeah, like I said, in the winter, I usually go from my house to my car to my office, back to my car, back to my house. I'm not a big outside person and when it gets that cold.
Oh, damn, no. May I ask, like what is a book or a film or a documentary which has inspired you, say, over this year?
So this isn't a this year book, but my favorite book that I have that like I always think about, it's this little tiny book. It's called Eat That Frog, and it's about not procrastinating.
Right.
So it's a really tiny book, but to me it was really powerful. I recently read a book about Oklahoma City,
Okay.
and it was called Boomtown, and I don't remember the author. I apologize. But it gave the history of Oklahoma City, like when it was founded, and then the more recent history. And let me tell you, Oklahoma City has some pretty interesting things that have happened to it. For example, Oklahoma City, they in the 60s, they flew every day for, I think it was for 6 months. They flew sonic flights multiple times over Oklahoma City to test how sonic booms affected the population. And because of that testing, commercial sonic flights aren't allowed over the US because of that testing. Isn't that interesting?
Yes. Just the poor population of Oklahoma City that's like got nerves shaking like this. It's like, but
yeah,
there it goes again. What? No, that was nothing. Are you sure? Are you sure? Okay. Well, yes, Oklahoma City. The reason why Concord didn't come a great success all over the country.
Right, because we weren't going to let them fly over the United States.
Thank you, Oklahoma. Oh, brilliant. I have to reveal that I have been keeping a secret from you. I'm sorry to say this, but I am a being of supreme cosmic power. And I have the power to grant you one wish and one wish alone. So no asking for more wishes, no writing down a whole heap of things on a list going, I want to have everything on this list come true. No, standard Aladdin principles, no bringing people from the dead or anything like that. And yes, no world peace because everyone keeps asking for world peace. No. What would your one wish be?
My one wish would be that I could travel again. I love traveling and visiting other places, and I really, really miss that part of my life right now. So obviously, I would love an end to the pandemic, but I think that kind of goes along with the world peace comment, right? So I just want to be able to travel safely again.
Where would be the city or place in the world you would like to travel to?
I think my husband and I both would love to be able to go to Australia.
Oh,
I
excellent.
think that that's not been on our wish list, but that's a big trip. And it's not just that it's a big trip time wise to get there, but like if we're going to go there, we want to be able to spend time
Ye-
while we're there, like multiple weeks. So it's,
Yeah, no, that's the thing about Australia. You can't do a forget doing the 10-day thing, forget about doing a 2-week thing. You need to go for like a month. And because Australia is just vast, a month to really sort of appreciate it. If you can get more than that, great. But no doubt, no doubt. Fantastic. Ah, can you tell the lovely people out there how they can get hold of you, how they can get the comms or conversation get started with yourself?
yep. I am on almost all social media as Sheryl M. Robinson. That's
Mhm.
SHERYLMROBINSON. Um, my two podcasts are called Hearts of Gold and Sensory Strides. Hearts of Gold does have a website, heartsofgoldpodcast.com, and all the transcripts from the shows are there also, which is sometimes helpful because, as we know, not everybody can hear a podcast. So we put all the transcripts on the website.
Outstanding, outstanding. Yes, I've got to say, yeah, I'll put all of that information in the show notes, the description. And yeah, I've got to say, Cheryl, you have been a superstar. Thank you for coming on today. As I say, you have been a superstar. I've learned a lot about you. I'm gonna say yes. One day, if I'm over in America and you're doing one of your crazy challenges, I might actually join you with that. But yeah, that's another story about myself. So, yeah. But until then, yeah. Thank you for coming on today.
Well, thank you so very, very much for having me. It
Oh,
was a pleasure.
and it's all mine. There you go. I'd like to say thank you to you, my friends, my life warriors out there who are still with us today, right now. I'd like to say, please stay safe, stay well, be awesome, be fantastic, be excellent, be all the positive bees you can be in this world, and then some. Anyway, have a great day. Peace. And we are.